Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, almost Friday. I've been in here chatting since about 7:30 this morning. I love when you guys come in early because as I'm getting the show ready, I get to chat with you because I don't really get to chat. I'm usually screwing around, throwing OJ off the desk, putting stuff up for the show, stuff like that. I did give some memberships this morning. It wasn't letting me do it for the longest time. But I opened up another tab and I tried it from my phone because I like to give back too. Hello, Real Brenda. And it finally let me do it. Good morning, Diva. Good morning, Marianne, Tammy, Gaelic. Misty's a member again. Welcome back, Misty. It was a long 24 hours without you, Misty. You missed so much. BM, good morning. Hello, Chris. Alibi's in the house. Woo! I've been fired up about this for days, my friends. You know how I am about the quintonsimon case. The very first show I did about Quinton, it was called No Foul Play My Ass because, well, it stunk to high heaven. Didn't take any rocket scientist to put together that something foul was going on. Now, did I expect the police to open up their case file and say, this is our plan of action? No. I know that in some cases, things fall through, and I know in some cases, they come out swinging. In this case, they came out swinging. Let me tell you. And under immense pressure. I mean, immense pressure. They had people calling for the chief's resignation. I mean, you name it. Getting mad when the searchers that were out in the landfill under immense, dangerous conditions. Immense. They'd get mad if they took a couple of days off, whether it was just to regroup, sift through what they had, mental health. Hell, they got mad when they left for the hurricane. I've never seen anything like it, but people never fail to surprise me. Before I get to it, I want to tell you guys thank you very much for being here. Because I understand this is not the hot topic. I understand people aren't talking about Quinton anymore. But as I said, I follow every case to the very end. If I pick it up, I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm not letting it go. So let's take a second and tell everybody hello and get to the comments because you guys have had a lot to say and I love it. And don't forget, today is a 2 for Thursday. Usually I say 2 for Tuesday because it sounds better. But we have two shows today because we're going to go back through the insanity that is Carly Russell. I can't get enough of the memes. Good morning, Unseen Thinkers. Jules made it in. Jules is in grandbaby heaven. And I honestly cannot believe the month is almost gone. You know, I'm going to be asking you guys for permission in a few weeks if I can put up my Christmas tree. You know I am. We went through it last year. It was August. I get out of the pool and I'm like, is it too early to put up the Christmas tree? While I'm getting ready for the comments, if you don't mind, give this a like. It helps me with YouTube, and I need all the help I can get with YouTube. Woo! Carla Gentry, welcome to CLL Rider Crime. We got a new member, actually a rejoined member. Thank you for coming back, Carla. And don't forget, we have a show after this about Carly. Even though a lot of taxpayer dollars were wasted, I couldn't stop laughing my ass off last night. HDC said, oh my God, the back to school teacher dread is setting in hard for me right now. I could not imagine. And our hats go off to you for the job you do, particularly in today's climate. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you deal with the administration. I don't know how you deal with the parents. I don't know how you do it. So good on you, HDC. You're doing God's work. Hello, Zoe, and thank you. Oh shit, it's Sherry. Member for 6 months said, still riding. Still riding. Here we go. Corey just said Halloween is his favorite. We'll start decorating. I love festive occasions. Except over the weekend, I got a bunch of balloons for my husband's birthday, and OJ wanted to go find a new home. I did not know that OJ would hate balloons so bad. My husband had to put him in another room because he was so tormented. He hated the balloons. Let's get to the comments, and then we're going to get to what's been eating at my soul all week. Because I'm telling you what, I understand that defense attorneys have a job to do. I got it. And they should. Everyone deserves a good defense. No matter how nasty they are, due process has got to happen. Not just for the defendant, so we know it's fair. Hello, Lone Wolf. But for the victim. The victim also deserves the due process to make sure that the right person is in jail and punished to the fullest extent of the law. And also, we deserve it. That's right, we deserve it. Because before they take someone and nab them off the streets and put them in jail, we need to be confident that they're doing the right thing. So, in this case, she is getting her due process. Lady Justice is working. Lady Justice is working slow because she always does. And her defense is pulling some dirty tricks that I don't like. Even though they are defense attorneys, they know the deal, they know the evidence, they know about the landfill, they know that the DA is calling for past child abuse records. Now, I caught some hell a few weeks ago where another creator, doesn't matter who it was, besides making fun of how I look and how I talk, said that past child abuse doesn't make someone a murderer. Well, I disagree. You see, in the case of Harmony Montgomery, past child abuse led to her murder. You see, in the case of little AJ in Illinois, past child abuse led to his murder. You see, in the case of Gabriel Fernandez, past child abuse led to his murder. You see, in the case of Oakley Carlson, who is still missing, past child abuse led to her disappearance. And in the case of Summer Wells, there is past child abuse. We get to quintonsimon, and there was past child abuse. What does Forrest Gump say? I'm not a dumb man. I'm not a dumbass. You think that this can't escalate? You're out of your mind. Lisa Lee said Billy Joe made this girl. Yes, she did. How's the poll looking, by the way? Do you guys think that Billy Joe should go down for this or not? I have my thoughts on it. I think once they hear that gavel and they hear guilty on all charges, I think then they're going to go after Billy Joe. I truly do. Let's get to the comments, and we're going to get to what's been eating at my ass all week. All right, I put a video up earlier in the week that talks about how the defense is wanting several of her charges thrown out. One of the charges that they want thrown out is the murder charge because the state did not give a cause of death. We're going to get to that first and foremost. If you guys want me to save it to the end because it is gruesome, I will do that. You tell me in the comments. Fed Up 2 days ago said, I listened to this as I'm watching my great grandbaby of 20 months, the same age as baby Quentin. All I could do is just cry, imagining what all that precious baby went through. I'll never understand how anyone, especially a mother, could put a child, their own baby, through such disgusting measures to cover up a crime committed by the hands of those who were supposed to protect him. May God see to it that baby Quentin receives the justice he so deserves. That comment, I'm tearing up now. That comment made me bawl. T.O. Girl said, this case really upsets me, and the people who supported Lielanis and Billy Joe are as sick as them. Quentin did not deserve this abuse by a junkie. You are so right. You are so right. And here's a little flash from the past for you guys. We all know that Cher, and I don't care about other creators, that's her platform. She can do whatever she wants, but she supported Billy Joe and Lielanis. Not just Billy Joe, but Lielanis. Now, as you know, almost every night on YouTube, Miss Christine 555555555 is on various panels defending the Wells. She also defended Lielanis. If you look at the screen, she also defended Lielanis. Who the hell could defend Lielanis? Gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. Direct Current said she deserves nothing but solitude confinement for the rest of her life, not death. That would be too easy. If even my own family did something like this mother did, I would say the same thing. The other two children may actually thrive through. Thank goodness they were removed from that whole toxic environment. They're not allowing any kinship adoption with Zane or Sky. And there's a reason for that. She says the only good thing coming from it is that Quentin himself saved his other siblings. I agree with you. That's the only silver lining we have. That's the only silver lining. Alicia said, I think prison for life with having to do free service at the dump is a good sentence. I think you're right on. I think you're right on. Now, before I get to what the state said in response to Lielanis's defense, Kat came up with that term and I love it. Nucky said, I like that sentence. Me too. As you remember, because we started covering this case on October 6th of 2022, and I was furious then and I'm furious now. This is a slap in the face of little baby Quentin. This is insult to injury, wanting a murder charge thrown out. Who cares about her lying to the police? Criminals lie. Look at the name of my channel. Crime, Lines, and Lies. There's a crime line. We have a timeline, and criminals lie. That's what they do. That's why we see so many proffer agreements, because to get them to tell the truth, they got to sweeten the purse a little bit. So as we remember, Quentin went missing on October 5th. On October 7th, Billy Joe said, anyone that is spending their time bashing my family in these times, please don't hesitate to remove yourself from my Facebook. Everyone is already torn and broken. Outsiders that are okay with beating people down aren't my kind of people. Well, you're not my kind of people, Billy Joe. I tell you what, Anybody that is given permanent guardianship of their grandchildren and warned about their own child, saying she's unfit, she is not to be around them because of the abuse, and you take off out of town, I don't care if it's to go to the Sandals Resort or to go to work. You knew the deal, and you left her. And Quinton was found in a landfill. Let's get to what the state said. Trigger warning. I can't say it enough. Trigger warning.
New information tonight on why prosecutors in Chatham County believe they may never know how 20-month-old quintonsimon died. Simon's mother, Lielanis, facing multiple charges, including 1 count of malice murder and 2 counts of felony murder in the death of the 1-year-old. She was denied bond back in March and has pleaded not guilty. Our WTOC Investigates team combing through the latest court filings in the case. Our Flynn Snyder tells us more about the prosecutor's latest filings and a warning. The details in this report may be difficult to watch.
And they are. And they are. I'm going to go ahead and let you know. They detail in these documents. I don't want a copy of them. I really don't. I know a few people said, I'm going to get those for you. I don't want them. They, in these documents, what I have read, said that when they picked him up from that dumpster, he was compacted many times between the dumpster to the Superior landfill. From there, he was dumped, compacted again, and for days at a time, he was rolled over by a 50-ton steamroller. The agents from Quantico that came down and treated like hell by imbeciles on the internet. How come it took them so long to get there? Why are they taking the weekend off? Well, you know why? Because they need a mental health check too. They found a bone here, part of a scalp there, a little baby tooth, tissue. Babies don't go in the trash. He said they won't arrest anybody else in this case. In this case, meaning the murder of quintonsimon. They're not talking about this. Failed to provide adequate supervision. They're not talking about that. In this case is exactly what he said. He also said, no, she was not afforded that opportunity. Doesn't matter what Billy's friends say that she just met. And he said, Lielanis doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, if you remember this.
And we believe that this was the right move today to be able to do that. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, quite frankly, if I can go off script a little bit. Quinton deserves that.
And he was choking up. It was one of the saddest press conferences I've ever heard in my life. Horrible. And even knowing that little baby Quinton was found in that landfill, knowing that he was presumed dead and in the landfill, they continued their BS. Tybee Island, drunk in the backyard, drunk in the front yard. You name it. We're going to watch part of this. Then we're going to go back to the news release from earlier in the week.
Good evening, everybody. Jeff Hadley. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chatham County Police Department. I'm accompanied this evening by Will Clark with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This afternoon, Chatham County Police Department detectives arrested 22-year-old Lielanis Simon and charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, false reporting, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old quintonsimon. Lielanis Simon is being held at the Chatham County Detention Center and is awaiting a bond hearing. We do not anticipate any other arrests in this case. She has been the sole suspect.
In this case, he said in this case. The case he's talking about is the murder of Quinton. Now, Billy did not murder him. I do not think Billy wanted him murdered. I'm being fair here. He said in this case. That does not mean that when this came down the pike and they said the maternal grandmother has a permanent guardianship order as to the child Zane. Permanent guardianship. So something went down. She knew or should have known that Lielanis was unfit. Here is another one. The DA, Shalina Cook Jones, has filed for discovery of child abuse records. Lielanis' attorney filed election to proceed with the paperwork. So there's a reason that Billy had permanent guardianship and was told to keep the kids away from Lielanis. She failed to do so.
From the beginning. On Friday, our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quinton's. This is a heartbreaking development for everyone who loved Quinton, for the many people who came to know him after his disappearance, and for our department. When we first received the call that Quinton was missing, we were hopeful that we would find him alive and unharmed. But as we have been telling you for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to his mother being responsible for his death and disappearance, and his remains being found in the landfill. I would like to thank the many people and agencies who worked hard to ensure that Quinton was found, that he would have a proper resting place, and that justice would be served. First and foremost, I want to thank the FBI. We are incredibly grateful for their invaluable assistance. Their expertise, their manpower, resources, and guidance are unmatched and were crucial in our efforts to find Quinton. They were on the scene within 3 hours of Quinton being reported missing and have assisted with every aspect of this investigation. The resources they poured into the landfill search are extraordinary and are the reason that we were able to find Quinton.
He said the FBI was there within 3 hours of them saying that he had been reported missing. He says without them, and they knew it was going to be super expensive. They knew it. They didn't care. They didn't care. Phenomenal work.
I can't thank them enough. Chatham County Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division also deserves special recognition. Their devotion to Quinton, to making sure this crime did not go unsolved, is an example of police work at its finest. Our detectives worked tirelessly and were determined to follow every lead and uncover every piece of evidence in this case. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and Department of Natural Resources all had officers searching the landfill alongside our officers in the FBI. The support of the Chatham County Emergency Management Agency, Chatham Emergency Services, Chatham Occupational Safety and Health, Savannah Police, and Savannah Fire also were invaluable in this massive effort. Finally, I would like to thank the many people who showed their support for our department during this incredibly difficult and important investigation. We appreciate those who kept faith in the system and waited patiently for evidence we needed to make sure Quinton has every opportunity to receive the justice he deserves. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Will Clark, who has some comments from the FBI.
Good evening. My name is Will Clark. I'm the Senior Supervisor and Resident Agent of the Savannah and Brunswick offices of the FBI.
Okay, you're not going to hear this FBI agent talk about China King, rehab, or her turning herself in. So Billy can miss me with that shit. She's a liar.
1 month ago, we began this landfill search alongside Chatham County Police Department with one purpose in mind, and that was to find Quinton and to bring him home. On Friday, search crews from the FBI in Chatham County found what we preliminarily believe are partial remains from a human child. Those bones were immediately sent to our lab in Quantico, Virginia. Additional testing for potential confirmation is now underway. It could be days before we have final results. What happened to this 20-month-old child is unthinkable. No child should be harmed by anyone, let alone the person in their lives that should be their protector. This investigation does not end here. There is more work to do. The FBI, along with our law enforcement partners, will continue to find justice for Quinton. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll appreciate that. And we'll try to answer some questions that you may have. Just be mindful that there's many we may not be able to answer, but we'll be willing to take some questions at this time.
You charge Leilani with that you guys found bones in the landfill? Is that?
We found human remains. Yes, ma'am.
You charge Leilani with
Quinton was
murder?
put in that dumpster. Do you believe that he was alive then or had died before he was in the dumpster?
Could you? I didn't hear the first part. I'm sorry.
Do you believe that Quintonsimon was alive when he was in the landfill? Do you believe he died before he was put in that dumpster?
I can't answer that question.
And that is one of the most heartbreaking questions I've ever heard. Was he alive when he went into the dumpster? He says, I can't answer that. And we know why. We know why. If we go to this clip right here, this is the video I put up the other day, Leilani's damn face, where they say, because there was a bone here, a tissue here.
Revealed about the death of Quintonsimon. The prosecutor is officially responding to the defense attorney's motions to throw out parts of that indictment. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole has been following the story since the very beginning, joining us now in the studio with the very latest. And Andy, she wants some charges thrown out.
Greg, that's right. Back in March, the defense tried to throw out 3 murder charges and 4 of the false statement charges. They did it by filing 2 demurrers. Today, the state responded to those claims, sharing new details about Quinton's gruesome demise.
For the first time, we're learning more about the final moments of 20-month-old Quintonsimon's life. In the response to Lielanis Simon's special demurrer, the state outlined what happened after Lielanis allegedly threw Quinton's body into a trailer park dumpster. Hours after throwing Quinton's body away, a garbage truck came, lifted the trash, and dumped it into a compactor inside the truck. When the load arrives at the landfill, it's dumped on the ground and a bulldozer shoves the garbage 300 feet into different cells. Quote, "This is not a neat process," prosecutors write in their response. They say it requires multiple sweeps by the bulldozers that shove, spread, and smear the contents.
This is not a neat process. At the landfill, they have heavy, heavy, heavy equipment. And I know some people say they want Quinton's Law, where police check dumpsters and trash trucks before they go to the landfill. You know as well as I do, that is never going to happen. Our police are underpaid, they're underworked, and there's not enough of them. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Ever. She knew when, because she lived at that trailer park. She knew when it picked up. She knew. And part of the landfill process is they need everything out there to degrade. That's why it's so toxic.
Multiple sweeps by the bulldozers that shove, spread, and smear the contents. Once at the cell, prosecutors say Quinton's body was then compacted again by a 50-ton steamroller. Quote, all of which is to say Quinton's body went through a lot. By the time the expert searchers found him, after looking for more than a month, his body had undergone severe trauma and decomposition. And it wasn't in just one place. Prosecutors say he was dispersed across the landfill. Quote, a bone here, a tissue there. The basis of
He was dispersed around the landfill. Hence why this process took so long. And people were saying, I can't believe they're not working 24/7. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't breathe.
Lielanis' demurrer for the murder charges is that the state wasn't specific enough in their indictment. But the state argues that an indictment can only be as specific as the evidence. With his body in pieces, prosecutors admit no cause of death has been determined or likely ever will.
Tonight, disturbing new details revealed about the death.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's bad enough what went on in the house. Whatever the manner of death is, I don't know. But to go and put him in the dumpster is beyond sick. And no, she did not turn herself in. We already heard the chief say she was not afforded that opportunity. Here's Brett Buffington again saying she was arrested at home.
Circumstances of her arrest, where and when it happened?
We know she was picked up from her home and taken to the Chatham County Detention Center. That happened just as they were making that arrest or making that announcement on yesterday. They told us that they didn't want anyone to have any exclusives in this case. They would release this to every affiliate here in Savannah at the same time. And they kept their word to that. I can tell you that they called the news directors and they gave us a heads up that there was an announcement coming. They made that announcement. And we know that she was quickly booked into the Chatham County Jail. She was supposed to have a bond here.
And don't forget, in December, Billy went to jail. She was there for 10 days for contempt of court. Welcome, Crystal. We have new people in here. You guys stick around. We're live every morning at 9 a.m. Central. We have members' lives. We have a lot of stuff going on. So this was for contempt of court. People said it's because she was talking on YouTube. No, I don't think so. I think the contempt of court was this. She was court ordered to keep the kids away from Lielanis. So 10 days for contempt of court, which tells me that when all goes down and that gavel goes down and that jury says guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, then they're going to go after Billy. She violated her guardianship. Exactly, Dina. She knew there was a safety plan. She knew what to do. All of the government paperwork, even though she says it was just a discussion between her and Lielanis. Well, no, because the state of Georgia wouldn't have been involved in it if it was just between you two. If it was just your secret, then, nobody would have been involved. She wouldn't have been ordered to pay you child support. There wouldn't have been paternity orders. She was told. They said she knew or should have known that Lielanis was unfit, inadequate. Guys, I can't tell you enough. Thank you so much for being here today for little Quinton. Like I said, I know on the YouTube streets, it's not what everyone's talking about, but no way am I ever going to give up on this case because it hurts me to my core. Now, we have another show coming up in a couple of hours. Please make sure you're subscribed. You give this a like, and you come back in a couple of hours. We're going to talk about the fallout from the Carly Russell situation. As always, Mod Squad, you're right on time, and you got it down. You got it down. Crystal said that baby deserves a voice. Yes, he does. And throwing out charges isn't going to do it. Is not going to do it. Like I said, these defense attorneys have to sleep at night too. And they know asking for these charges to be thrown out Well, that'll get you a ticket to hell. I don't think anybody wants that. We can deal with the BS on planet Earth, but what happens after that is a different story. So I'm going to see you guys back here in about 2 hours, and we're going to talk about the craziness with Carly Russell. Thank you for being here. Welcome to all our new members, new friends, and I will see you in a couple of hours.